Hello everyone! Today is Earth Day, and at the beginning of my story, The Little House, I asked everyone to make a heart. And inside that heart, I asked you to make it look like the world. And so we are going to practice doing that together right now. I have with me a piece of paper. Now we've already done this project, so you know that we need some paper, some scissors, and the colors that we're going to be using. And I chose a dark blue, and this in Spanish, if you look on this pencil or crayon, it will have 3 different words. And on the pencil, this one says blue, but it also says azul, and then it also says bleu. So in Spanish and French, and I'm not really certain that I'm pronouncing them correctly, so feel free to assist me if you wish. And then on this one, this is a lighter blue, but this one is called sky blue. And in Spanish, it says azul cielo, and in French, bleu ciel. And then on this green one, it just says green, but then it also says verde and vert. So we're going to be using these 3 colors to create our world inside of our heart. And then after we make our hearts, we're going to place them in the window, just like we did for our community a couple of weeks ago, or this last week. So the first thing that we need to do in order to make our heart is take our piece of paper, just like this, and then fold the edges towards each other until they meet. And then you want, it looks like Pumpkin's coming. Come here, Pumpkin. You want to say hi? Good morning. So you meet the 2 edges together. Right, kitten. And then go ahead and fold down the side, just like that. So now you have a half a piece of paper. And we're going to open it up, and you'll see the crease going down the center. Now, it's important to keep it folded. We're going to create the number 2. So the number 2 with our pencil is going to start at the edge where this fold is, and then we're going to go up like a rainbow, around, and then bringing our 2 down to the corner of the piece of paper, and then we can imagine putting the bottom line. What we're trying to capture is the shape of the heart, and that's that 2 right here. So let me get my pencil, and you can watch me create this heart. So I'm going up from the side that it's folded, up, around, and down. And voila, we have our heart. Now remember, we are all our own artists, as Miss Julie likes to say, and we can create our own style of heart. However your heart looks is exactly how it's supposed to be. And with time, you can practice over and over. Just like I'm practicing the guitar, you can practice and create the heart that you see in your mind. But for now, let's just be happy with the heart that we create, okay? So we put our scissors aside. And remember, it's like just in our classroom, when we do our map making, we're going to create the land or the continents that are on our Earth inside of this heart. So I'm going to use my imagination, and I don't have one of our continents from the map puzzle, so I'm going to just imagine what that continent looks like and draw it on the paper, and it doesn't have to look perfect. It can look however you wish it to look. So I'm going to draw North America how I want to draw North America. And then I'm going to be shading in the inside. I'm going around the edges and then into the center. Now, what sort of animals live on North America? Do you remember from the different works that we have in class? Let me think. I'm thinking of an animal that starts with w, w, and ends in f, f. I'm thinking of something that howls. Can you guess? I'm thinking of something that is a dog is related to. Are you guessing what I'm guessing? I'm thinking of a wolf. Wolf. I'm thinking of wolf. Wolves live in North America. I'm thinking of a bird. This bird starts with a k. And there's two words in this bird's name. A place of where he's originated from, and then the type of bird that he is. K, k. Now this bird likes to eat the grass that's across the street from our school. You also might see this bird in the water down by the end by First Street. You'll also see this bird and lots of them flying in the air in the shape of a V, and they usually go honk, 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 honk. And it starts with a K. What type of animal am I thinking about? If you said Canada goose, you are right. The Canada goose also lives in North America. So I have created my North America, and I am my own artist, so it's gonna look how I wish it to look. Now I'm going to create what I think is Europe, Asia, that whole continent that's over on the side over here is sort of large. And really, this is what it's going to look like. So now I'm going to shade it in. Have any of you been to Europe or Asia? I know I have some friends who have been to both places. What kinds of animals do you think live in Asia? I'm thinking of an animal that starts with a p, p, p. What animal lives in Asia that starts with a p, p, p? This animal likes to eat a lot of green food, and it's called bamboo. What animal likes to eat a lot of bamboo? This animal is also very fuzzy and looks very cuddly. This animal also is black and white, and he has a big stripe. What kind of animal am I thinking of? If you said panda, you are right. And now I've created North America and Europe and Asia. I am my own artist. Now I'm going to create Africa. And Africa is huge, so I'm going to make it coming off of the edge here. So this is what I'm making for Africa. So Africa's pretty big. Let's see, and I'm not going to do all the continents. You remember all of the continents. North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Don't forget Oceania or Australia. Don't forget Antarctica. These are the continents, these are the continents, these are the continents of our world. So, you remember our song. So what kind of animals live in Africa. While you're coloring, I'd like you to think about what you remember lives in Africa. I am thinking of an animal. I am thinking of an animal who starts with a ooh. This animal is like pumpkin, but much, much bigger. This animal has a very big mane. This animal roars. This animal has a long, skinny tail with a little bit of a poof on the end. Do you know what animal I'm thinking of? If you said lion, you are correct. Lion is the name of our animal that we were thinking of. Since Africa's pretty big and it's taking me a while, let's think of another animal. I'm thinking of an animal that starts with a. And this animal is our largest land animal. This animal has very big floppy ears and a really long nose. Do you know which animal I'm thinking of? If you said elephant, you are correct. Now I have created Africa, and so I have just 3 continents here, and that's okay. I think maybe I'll just sort of make another landmass coming out just to balance out my picture right here. Can't really see it. And maybe, yeah, there we go. And I put a little something over here just to give it some color on that side. So now I'm going to take my blue and my blue, and I'm going to shade around in the area. I'm going to use my light blue first. So in the oceans, we see lots of different animals. And with this lighter blue, I'm going around the edges and just giving it some color just around the outside of all of my continents. Now, in the ocean, we have many animals. In the ocean, I am thinking of an animal that starts with a w. Now, it's very unusual for us to see a w animal that I'm thinking of in our area, but we did at one time see an animal that I'm thinking of, and his name was Humphrey, and he came through the Carquinez Straits, and we helped him to get to the big, wide ocean. This animal is the largest animal. It is so large that he is the size of many buses, or maybe 2. Large, very large. And this animal has a hole at the top of his head that allows him to breathe out the oxygen from his lungs. This animal is a mammal. Can you tell me the animal that I'm thinking of? If you said whale, you are correct. Whale. There's lots of large things in the oceans, but then there's very tiny things in the ocean. We see many fish in the sea, but also the smaller creatures that live in shells. There's one beautiful animal that lives in the sea called a sea star, and I wear my sea star every single day. And the sea star is interesting because if for some reason they lose an arm, that arm can become a new sea star. And the sea star who lost its arm can grow another arm. Isn't that fascinating? I think it's fantastic. So they're constantly growing and changing and becoming new again if something happens. We're all evolving. We are all creating new and wonderful things with ourselves and our minds and our bodies. And we have to learn to adapt and become used to the new things that are happening. Right now, we are not able to go and see our friends, and that sometimes is a little sad, and I know it is. But just like our sea star, we are growing and we're becoming new again, and we're finding new ways to see each other, just like I'm giving you this video right now. So let's be like sea stars and grow from whatever it is that's happening to us around us and become a completely different sea star. So I'm now going back in with my darker blue. Can you see? And I hope that you are doing this too. So I am going in and I'm making this, I'm trying to join the two colors together, the dark and the light, so that you can see some beautiful contrast of the color as if it's deeper or shallower, closer to the land, deeper way out in the middle of the ocean. And while you're shading, you can think of all of the creatures that you love to look at. What have you seen while you were at the ocean? When you go to the ocean, do you go and look in the little tide pools? Sometimes we see things like sea anemones, and sometimes we see little snails. Sometimes we see little tiny fishes, hermit crabs, algae growing sometimes, lily pads, birds, things that are on top or inside the water, things that are eating and growing from the things they find in the water. Now, I have completed my heart, and this heart is going to go in my window. I appreciate every single one of you, and I hope that you will do your earth heart today. I love you. Mwah. Have a beautiful day. Go plant something.